always been curious about where my family came from, about who my ancestors were, about what nationalities I'm made up of, and just this past year, I decided to look into my genealogy and see what I could find. Some of what I found was great, and it made me proud of where I came from. But some of the information I found out was shocking and something that I definitely didn't expect. Genealogies aren't as important to us as they once were. But when Jesus was born, genealogies were incredibly important to the Jewish people. Your family wasn't just those who were alive, but your family was those who came before you, going back generations even. And here in Matthew 1 through 17, we find the genealogy of Jesus. Both Matthew and Luke include a genealogy of Jesus, and Matthew is writing to a primarily Jewish audience. Matthew understood the importance of Jesus' family tree to his audience and for us here and today. First of all, this family tree of Jesus establishes his legitimacy in fulfilling some of the prophecies about the Messiah that was to come. In Genesis 12 and Genesis 22, we see that Abraham was promised that the Messiah would be his descendant. We also see in 2 Samuel 7 that God promises David that the Messiah would also come from his line. So in this genealogy, we see not only the faithfulness of God in the fulfillment of the promises he made, but we see God's sovereignty in guiding his plan of reconciling people back to him throughout history. Secondly, when we take time to look at the specific people in this genealogy, it's actually quite surprising. Normally, in a Jewish genealogy, we wouldn't find women listed, but in this case, we do. We find Tamar, we find Rahab, Ruth, Mary, and Bathsheba. And we also find Abraham, David, Isaac, Judah, Solomon, Uzziah, all the way up to Joseph. So think about those people for a second. Don't just brush over them as a list. Tamar, who committed incest, Rahab, a prostitute, David, who killed a man to cover up for his adultery. It's like a who's who of broken people that God redeemed. Jesus' lineage isn't filled with perfect, holy people. It's filled with people like you and I, people who've been redeemed, people who, though maybe broken and sinful, can be redeemed through God's grace and faithfulness. It's an incredibly beautiful example for us, found right in the genealogy of Jesus. It's an example of our importance to him, that while we were still sinners, he loved us. There might be a part of you right now sitting there thinking that you're beyond hope or that someone in your life is beyond hope. But God is in the business of redeeming the hopeless cause. This genealogy of Jesus shows us that no one is beyond hope, that no one is beyond redemption. If he can use such a messed up family tree, he can surely use us. No one is beyond hope, and no one is beyond God's grace.